meeting to order.
Shelly, can do roll call, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, thank you. District 1, Councilman Rios.
Present.
District 2, Councilman Pastor.
Present.
District 3, Councilman Latham.
Present.
District 4, Vice Mayor Stapleton.
Here.
District 5, Councilman Gonzalez.
Here.
District 6, Councilman Shipley.
Here.
Mayor Gameros.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Shelly. Can you lead us in the invocation,
Thank you,
Shelly,
Mr.
please?
Mayor. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this evening, and thank you so much for our jobs. We pray, Lord, that you would bless each person here tonight. And Lord, please bless this council meeting and the decisions made. We pray for people with sickness, Lord, that you would heal them and that you would comfort the brokenhearted. We are so grateful for our community and the strength that has risen out of emergencies and need. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Jesse, can you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with summary of current events, and we'll start with you, Mariana.
Oh, I knew you'd get me on this. It's very impressive when, for the past 3 months, in spite of crisis, we have, as a region and a community, stepped up to help our fellow citizens. It is sad, though, that there are things happening right now where we as a community have to raise money for an individual just for health care. And I've heard some good news about that. But I'm very inspired by all of you out there and how well we pull together in the Globe Miami region. And I'm very proud to be a part of this community. And I thank you all for all of the recent efforts in trying to help just one member. And I thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mariano. Fernando?
Just the same. I'm so proud to live in this community where people watch out for each other, take care of each other. That's not something to be taken for granted. So it's a pleasure to be here and do what we can to make this community better. So thank you for all being here for our special ceremony tonight.
Thank you. Freddie?
Thank you, Mayor. In the spirit of keeping things moving along, because we have a lot of things to do here and special recognitions, but I do want to personally congratulate Mr. Bracamonte for his tenure with the City of Globe and his outstanding work. So that's just a personal congratulations and thank you from me. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. Mike?
I don't have anything to share tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
I just want to reiterate what my fellow colleagues have said, how honored I am to be a part of this community that steps up over and over and over again for community members. And I want to congratulate you, Mr. Bracamonte, and K-9 Evo for a job well done. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to, glad to be a participant in this community with all the problems that are going on with Lily. We all know everything that's going on with her, and I just ask that we keep Lily and her family, 3 young children, her husband, in all your prayers. She definitely needs them. And I'd like to thank the community for chipping in and everything that they're doing to help Lily. It's a blessing, and I'm proud to be a member of this community. Lastly, I'd like to thank Captain Bracamonte for your service, young man. You and Evo, fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to first start off with a moment of silence with 2 individuals that we lost this week. The first one being Frank Pratt. Maybe that's not familiar to a lot of you in the community, but Frank Pratt was a former senator and current representative, 12 years in the legislature. Frank Pratt was he was an advocate for rural communities and especially Globe. He was a very soft-spoken individual, very sincere, down to earth, all the conversations that I had with him in meetings. So we lost him this weekend. So our prayers to his wife and his family. The next individual is Dr. Michael Durham, who we lost this weekend. Our prayers are for Dottie and her family. Dr. Durham was a lifetime doctor here, very engaged in the community, very well known, and same thing, soft-spoken, very down-to-earth person. So if we could stand and have a moment of silence for Representative Frank Pratt and Dr. Michael Durham. Thank you. Just want to announce that on Thursday, the 30th, starting at 5:30, we'll have a State of the City address. I will have my first State of the City address here. It'll be out in Veterans Park outside. There'll be food here, food vendors, there'll be music. It'll start at 5:30. My address will start at 6, and then you can enjoy the rest of the couple hours with music. We'll have Neto Vasquez and Imagine. So we invite you all to come and get the information that we'll distribute to you. Friday is First Friday, and that's done every first Friday, city sponsored. We're gonna have the chalk drawing contest. There's a lot of businesses that are now getting involved in First Fridays. We'll also have the first downtown cruise. I don't know if everybody remembers 70s, 80s. We used to cruise downtown, so we're encouraging old and young to come and participate. Bring your car down, meet us at 5:45 at the Active Adult Center, and we're going to cruise downtown, and then we'll display any of the vehicles. We have the golden oldies that'll also be participating. We'll display them down at the train depot, and we'll have food and music down there in that area. Food truck roundup down there, and then visit all the businesses downtown. So that's Friday at 5:45. Meet us at the Active Adult Center. I also want to announce that at the back of the chambers here, we have the applications for the first annual Citizens Academy. So we invite you, anybody interested in city government, to please come and fill it out and participate in a 6-week academy and learn more about city government. And finally, I do want to also talk, and I would say a little more later, congratulations, Joe, on your retirement and your years of service with the city of Globe. We appreciate all that. Thank you, Joe. That's all I have, Paul.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you very much. Again, Frank Pratt, Representative Pratt represented the city of Globe, District 8, a very quiet but effective legislator, and a great benefit. A lot of things that he has done that benefit directly the city of Globe. So we do pray for his family. The Citizens Academy is 6 weeks where each week you get to meet with a different council member in a different department and learn, as I'm calling it, the nitty gritty of city government. And so if you really want to learn how the restrictions and what we do and how we do that, you're welcome to sign up and come and sit with us. And there will be food. So the last thing, very excited about the giving away the 5-year awards and the recognition of retirees of Joe Bracamonte. I think that it's important that we see the dedication of a life that employees of city governments give to the elected officials and to the people. It's so important to them. We wake up in the morning, one morning, and we say, we got this job in the city, and we turn around, and 20 years later, all this accomplishment and, with the struggles and the thrill and the just the feeling of satisfaction of serving others. And so whether it's fire, police, to clerk, to finance, it's that same satisfaction of serving. And it's always good to come here and recognize that. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Paul. We have first community call to the public, and this is the time anybody wishing to speak to the council may do so at this time. We are not able to respond to you on call to the public. You are limited to 3 minutes. And I don't have any cards. Do you have any or any online at this time? Okay. So we'll go to special presentation and ceremonial matters. And item A is employee recognition for 21 years of service for John Angulo, Public Works Director. And
25.
that'll be
25, sir.
25 years. I'm sorry, did I say 20?
Yes, you said 20.
Oh, sorry, 25 years. I cheated him 4 years.
Come on down.
For more years.
So we're gonna have you here. And then we're going to, just a quick notes. Tonight is John Angulo's Recognition 25 years of service. Now, I've only worked with John for 5 of those years, and so I'll let you all fill in the gaps on the other 20, okay? What I observed in working with John is John represents stability. He is a rock of public works. He knows what needs to be done. He knows how to get it done. He knows the staff and what they're capable of and how to get the most out of them. John provides that steady, stable leadership that makes him so effective. We know the story of John's humble beginnings, the back of the trash truck?
Garbage truck.
Garbage truck, yeah. All fingers still intact?
Yeah, actually not all. I lost part of one.
Oh, well. Should have checked that.
It's in the landfill.
Sorry
John.
to point that out. Didn't mean to go there, sorry. And that's why we now hire somebody else to do it. The past 5 years, John has risen from superintendent of streets to public works director, where he continues to lead a staff with a consistent, stable direction with expectations, accountability, and John's a leader when the worst thing that any of his employees feel is that they've disappointed him, and so that is that sign of leadership. Remains humble, dedicated, and diehard Mopar fan. Okay, so Duster 70. What engine? 383 or bigger? 440. Oops.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, I from a one gearhead to another, if I had met him on the street, I would have lost badly.
Yeah.
Okay. So still. He remains, like I say, the diehard Mopar fan. I can't practice that one. He brings stability not only to his department, but to our executive team. And I will admit there are times when after sitting with John and talking things through, he brings stability to me. So I appreciate that, John. Congratulations, 25 years of service, and we're looking forward to another 25.
Thank you.
So.
Probably not.
Check the spelling, Paul.
Yeah, though I
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for acknowledging not just myself, other staff. Makes great, this brings a big thing for longtime employees, Joe Bracamonte as well, Shelly, and Michelle. She walking in, she says, well, I don't know if 5's really that much. Well, you know what? Every day we show up, there is, an adventure sometimes. I just wanted to thank, the mayor and council, past employees. I've worked with some great people. Of course, I kind of feel I'm in the seventh inning stretched right now. I'm getting there. I'm not ready to retire yet. I still feel there's work for us to be done, and I'm excited about it. But like Paul said, I started, in one area, and I've gone through many titles throughout the city. Went from Mr. Garbage Man to Street Sweeper John to the big guy with the barricades and the cones. So I think Public Works Director kind of is the best for me now, until further in the future, see what else I chase after then. But thank you all, the public and everything, because it's been great. And I thank my staff for the support that, like Paul said, every day's an adventure. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John, for going the extra mile every day. I know how much dedication and time you put in for the city. Next, we have employee recognition for 20 years service for Shelly Salazar, city clerk. And I just say something about Shelly. She's really kind of the glue. She's kind of keeps me in line all the time, and I think all the council in line all the time. She plays a very important role for our city.
So, Shelly, welcome down. So, it's been, Shelly's been 20 years of the city, but I think her job didn't really get exciting until she became clerk. Was it 6 years ago or 7? 8? Okay. Well, I only got here 6 years ago, so there are 91 cities in the state of Arizona, which means there are 91 people who have been selected and serve as city clerk of a Arizona municipality. There are about 85 city managers and town managers, and so that shows the importance. You can go without a town city manager, but you can't go without a clerk. And so you're one of those 91, and you hold that mantle very high and do that very well. In the 6 years that I've been very lucky to work side by side with Shelly, she keeps us legal. She acts as my history department, all around great coworker, and so, like I say, we have those good conversations. We all have Shelly stories. Most cannot be shared in a format such as this, but I will tell you that when you're working with Shelly and she gets quiet and she gets that look, and that's the time. There it is. Okay. I will just tell you that no one is more supportive of City of Globe city government than Shelly Salazar. She puts things in perspective. She puts them in perspective for me, and she helps me when I need to make heads or tails of what is going on and how the city is running. And so it's really been great having you here as clerk, with all your responsibilities and all that comes with being that significant member of city government. It is the, just so you know, it is the council with the clerk and the attorney, and then that keep the city running. The manager is that professional that works down, but those are the three legs of the city government stool. Shelly, thank you for being City of Globe city clerk. Congratulations on 20 years of service.
Yeah, who's that? Oh, Linda will take pictures. Okay.
This is.
Very nice.
Well, thank you, Paul, for those kind words. I had no idea that you felt that way. So, it's just, I was hired by City Manager Manoj Diaz and Finance Director Teresa Williams, and I appreciate their consideration. And in 2001, I just was honored to be trained by Rexina Pelger and influenced by Marta Lou Schulte. They were beautiful women of government, and I just wanted to mention them tonight. And I look out and I see a lot of faces, Dan Melvin, one that I've worked with, and I'm just so fortunate, Mayor Gameros. And I'm just, I do love my job, and I do love the city. I love City Hall. I love calling people and saying, this is Shelly from City Hall, and I really love that. One of my first challenges is I did the payroll when I first started working, and I got the fire department's payroll, and I had to navigate through the Excel worksheets from then Chief Gameros. They were all color-coded. I'd never seen anything like that in my life, and I'm like going, what is this? But it was the fire payroll, and now I get to serve as a clerk for mayor, and Fernando, I was a payroll clerk when you were mayor, and now I get to serve with you too. So I'm really appreciative. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Floyd.
Next, we have employee recognition for 5 years of service for Michelle Yerkovich, Code Enforcement Specialist, and it'll be Linda. Speaking for.
I'm gonna do double duty,
Okay.
actually.
Selfie. Love it.
I've had the pleasure of working with Michelle for the past 4.5 years here, though Michelle's been here for 5. We've only recently come together under our community development department, but it has always been so rewarding to work with Michelle. And she is always ready to go above and beyond to move our organization and community forward, such as when she partnered with Gila County to assist with the 2020 Census Complete Count Committee, or when she dropped everything and we had to move super turbo fast to secure the temporary construction easements with every property owner in the flood zone along Canal Creek. And Michelle did so with such ease and poise, and she made it look so easy. She's definitely the definition of a team player. Michelle was raised here locally by her parents, Manny and Mary Casillas, who are here in the audience. She married her high school sweetheart, Chris, in 1987. They've raised their 3 children here, Victoria, Anthony, and Tyler. And we have one in the audience. We have Tony here. She's an associate broker with Stallings & Long and has sold real estate in our area since 2002. Chris has owned C&M Service Center here in Globe since 1991. In her 5 years in code enforcement, Michelle has built the department, organized and co-founded dumpster cleanups and the trash mob cleanups, and is now moving towards assisting with the development process as a manager. She has a record of 14 dilapidated buildings that she's had torn down. That's a huge win. And 19 commercial buildings painted up, often working or getting free paint for those who couldn't afford it. Thank goodness for free Tempe tan. She has helped to remove many vehicles from the streets, whether to help Public Works with chip seal projects or to help removal of squatters and vacant structures, and working with the City of Globe Water Department on leaking or sewage issues. These are only a few of the things that Michelle does on a daily basis, and she does them with kindness and with common courtesy. For fun, Michelle likes to hike and kayak, and for those who know her, she's the original Arizona hiker chick. Just check out her license plate, which Chris got her. And her favorite place to kayak is the Lower Salt River and Roosevelt Lake. And in fact, she's the one who started our full moon kayaking events that have grown to dozens of paddlers each month. Her favorite trips include whitewater rafting in the Grand Canyon, kayaking the Colorado River at Horseshoe Bend, and going on a cruise to Europe with her husband, Chris. She just finished hiking the Narrows and Angels Landing at Zion National Park in August. Her bucket list is to hike every national park in the U.S. She's already been to 10, and we hope to see her hit her goal while she works here with her city team. Okay, so congratulations, Michelle, on your 5 years with the City of Globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, for your kind words. When I first started at the city, even before I was turning in my application, and of course I saw Jody and I saw the girls in the court, and I asked them, "What's it like to work here? What's it like to work here?" And they told me it's like working with a family. And I went home, told my husband, "I want to work with a family. I want to work there." So it's been an interesting 5 years. Every day there's a story that I could tell. I have so many kind coworkers that will help me with anything that I need, and I try to be a team player and work with my coworkers when they need something. I just appreciate the opportunity and the team that I'm working with, and I love everybody in this first 2 rows and in that 3rd row back. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you. Mayor and council, thank you.
So next we have employee recognition for 25 years of service and retirement from the City of Globe Fire Department for Joe Bracamonte, Fire Captain, and retirement of K-9 Evo. Chief Robinson.
Right here, Joe. You bet. Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public. We, the last few years, I've had the honor of taking and recognizing individuals who have not only served this community outstandingly for years, but who have also taken the opportunity, a well-deserved opportunity, to retire. Tonight is no different, as we take a moment to honor an icon of the community, as well as Captain Bracamonte. That was for you, Evo.
Is he growling?
Captain Bracamonte started with the Globe Fire Department back in 1993 as a volunteer, where he spent 5 years before accepting a position as a full-time firefighter. He spent 5 years working in the community on the truck as a firefighter EMT before taking what was undoubtedly and continues to be a challenging role as a fire marshal within any community, as you work through the codes, through your efforts in things such as investigations and that, to ensure the safety of not only the firefighters in the community, but the residents and those who live and shop within our community. In 2007, Joe, with the help from the community, support of the fire department, and others, founded the first K-9 program, arson K-9 program for the city, with his K-9 partner, K-9 Frank. K-9 Frank was an amazing K-9. They worked together until 2011. As far as the fire department goes, I think K-9 Frank is best known and most respected for having been trained somewhere and by someone, we don't know who, to know exactly where Chief Gameros' locker was and pull his gym socks out of the locker to bring it to you to play with. It made Chief Gameros very happy.
Sure did.
Again, Frank retired in 2011. Shortly after that, with assistance from Freeport McMoran, Joe was able to acquire K-9 Evo, who has served with him since that time. K-9 Evo was trained locally with the assistance of Commander Baxley from the Gila County Sheriff's Office. And since that time has done outstanding work, not only within our own community, but within several counties throughout the state, as well as for federal partners, including the FBI and the Forest Service. In a few years ago, I thought I had the note here, when exactly it was, but a few years ago, K-9 Evo was honored by the FBI and the Department of Justice for work that was performed on a homicide case on the Navajo Reservation. Through their assistance, they were able to locate and identify evidence that was instrumental in the conviction of 4 individuals and the breaking up of a significant gang on that reservation. Among other things that they've worked on in the community, as an investigative team, they've worked to assist law enforcement in article searches, right, including with the tragic Jammer shooting. They've taught in schools. They founded and worked together on Frank's K-9 Christmas that went to the residents of our care homes and recognized them at Christmas time, which can be a lonely time for them. It's been my honor, it's been a pleasure to work with Captain Bracamonte through his career. He was here when I started, and I've had the honor of working to support him and his efforts. And it is, first of all, my honor to recognize him for 25 years of service, and as well as congratulate him and K-9 Evo in their retirement.
Thank you, Chief. Well, so if I can get through this without tearing up. Before I get started, I just want to set the record straight. Mayor Gamaros, can you stand up for a sec? Okay, so about the last 5, he was chief for 10, 15 years, and when he got voted into mayor, I had several people come up to me and say, hey, I voted for you. I said, well, voted for what? He goes, for mayor. I said, I'm not the chief. That's Chief Gamaros. And there's times that people have come up to us and shook my head, how you doing, Chief? And I remember one comment that Mayor Gamaros said was, I'm the chief, he's the guy with the dog. And you go and sit down. And Chief Robinson, there was something on social media and want to know who the next chief is going to be. And I said, well, I'm not the chief. It's Chief Robinson. I don't know anything about him getting fired, but he's still working. So here's our current fire chief. I'm not the chief, okay? But, I had this big speech I was going to say, and I thought, you know what, that went out the door. I'm almost going to say it from the heart. Current mayor and council, past mayor and council, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. Your support with the K-9 program. I know there's times I've done things as a fire marshal that the council didn't agree, but we worked it out as professionals, and you're still there to support me. Thank you. And I see some of the business owners out in the audience here. 20 years being fire marshal, they were there to support me. It wasn't, okay, here comes fire marshal, he's going to write us up. When I did, the cooperation with them was just phenomenal and made my job easier as being a fire marshal to work with the business owners and managers in our community. And thank you guys, I appreciate it. So I'm going to make this short as I can because it's, my career, I've been fortunate to have 3 families. Police, fire, and my personal family. Firefighter Bracamonte, my daughter, come on up. And bring my little chicken nugget, my granddaughter. My daughter's been with me from day one when I was a volunteer. She's a firefighter with Tri-City Fire, and we're been stuck together like peanut butter and jelly. And she's been there for me from day one. A year ago, I was diagnosed with PTSD. And when I was sitting out the other night, I thought, okay, why did I fight to come back? And I'm going to call some people up, and these are the people why representing their agencies. And I'll Sheriff Shepard up. And Deputy Bramlett, can you come up? 9 years ago, when I obtained funds from Freeport McMoran to get Evo, I went to the sheriff's office and contacted Commander Baxley, K-9 supervisor, and I was scared to death of this guy. And I asked him if he'd train K-9 Evo, and he said, I'll do it in a heartbeat. He spent 75% of his time out of 3 months to train K-9 Evo and myself. And Sheriff Shepard had no problem us working under the umbrella of the sheriff's office and training with them. Deputy Brown is also K-9 handler with the Gila County Sheriff's Office, and I've trained with him for the last 9 years. And the support, and these guys were there for me during my illness and contact me every day, you know, or not every day, but a week or so. All the handlers, there's 3-4 handlers that are missing right now that couldn't make it. And Commander Baxley could not make it, and just want to thank him for everything he's done for me in the Gila County Sheriff's Office. Chris, Firefighter Mills, come on down here. You're the first one I see, buddy, so you're up. It's Paramedic Mills with Global Fire. The firefighters, our local union 2273, and my brothers at the fire department, they're the ones that helped me through my career. You know, I said, hey, can I take blood pressure? Because I was a fire marshal. They let me do whatever I wanted, but they took good care of me. And through my year that I was off work, my brothers with Glow Fire were there for me. And just want to thank you, Chris, representing Glow Fire and everything you guys have done for me. Thank you, brother. Chief Walters and Sergeant Valenzuela, can you come down here, please? We have a call. Okay. You know what? I'm not even going to Chief Walters because I can't even compete against him. Chief Walters is Globe Police Chief, and Sergeant Valenzuela. A few years ago, right after Chief Walters came on board, I guess he got tired of me coming into the PD all the time, so let's see which bucket I put it in. So he finally got tired of me coming in, so he gave me a key to Glow PD. Here's your key back, Chief.
Love it.
With all seriousness, Chief Walters, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but your officers were there for me during my illness. They helped me write my reports, and nobody knows this, but when I did my arson reports, I would take it to one sergeant. He'd proofread it. I'd correct it. I'd go to the next sergeant, and he'd correct the sergeant's report. And then I'd go to the next sergeant and then do the same thing. So I'd pick whichever one I liked the best. Yeah, Sergeant Valenzuela, he was there for me during my illness and throughout my career to support me and be there for me. And like I said, these guys are my family. Yeah, thank you, Chief.
I keep telling people I'm not a hugger.
Well,
Yeah.
Keep working.
and in closing, you know, I want to thank everybody in the community, police, fire, mayor, and council, for everything you've done for me. And, you know, if there's anything I ever can do, just, you know, give me a call and I'll be there for you. God bless you guys. Thank you.
I'd like to share something real quick. When I was mayor, he had trained Frank the fire dog, and they were having a competition with Officer Hudson, who had the drug recognition dog. And so Joe here said, you know, it's a lot harder to be a fire recognition dog than it is to be a drug dog, and I can teach my dog to find drugs in 2 weeks. And so they had a bet, and there's no way, you can't do that, you can't do that. Well, Frank found the drugs every single time. And so, Joe, did you tell him how you did that?
Yes, we had a K-9 handler, Officer Hudson. He was bragging. It was a competition between police and fire K-9s. And so I told him, well, I got a better dog than you do. So one of the officers pulled some marijuana out of the evidence room that was going to be destroyed and put some accelerant in it. We didn't tell Officer Hudson. We hid it. Went out the door, went back in. I gave the K-9 command. She went, boom, hit it. And he was so frustrated. He says, no, this was set up. So we did it a second time. and he was so upset, he left the PD. And we finally told him about 10 years later. And Chief Camaros, I got to add this one real quick, not to extend this too much longer, but you have those memorable moments in your career, which I had many. But one is when Mayor Camaros was fire chief and we had a structure fire up on Skyline and they were calling for the ladder truck. So me being the volunteer, I'm going to pull the ladder truck out so the guys can come in, get in and take off. Well, I didn't see the bay door come back down a little bit, about 2-3 inches. And when I pulled out, that bay door was wrapped around the tip of the ladder truck, the whole door, out in the middle of Cedar Street. And it's like, okay, well, they can't fire me because I'm a volunteer. Chief Camaros pulled up. He was I've never seen this man so mad in my life. He didn't say anything. And it's like, he just walked in the office and we got the guys put the fire out, but that's, one of my, we can laugh about it now, but then back then it was funny. Thanks, Chief, for letting me come to work for you.
I think Vice Mayor had something to say too.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. Where do I start? Joe, Captain, Fire Marshal, Evo. See you down there?
Yeah, sure.
I could go on and on and on for hours, but I'm sure these people probably don't want to hear that. In fact, I had to rewrite my speech because it was so long. So, in the 10 years that I have known you, Joe, I have seen so many things that you have done for this community. You are a pillar in this community. Everyone looks up to you. And not only looks up to you and respects you, you are a friend to everyone that you meet. You're a role model to the youth with your fire prevention classes, to the patience and compassion that you have shown to the troubled youth as well. You are always there to lend a hand, regardless. It doesn't matter. You're always there. You have worked so well with businesses in the city and existing businesses. To those trying to open up here, and you always go above and beyond to existing and new businesses to help them with their opening plans that they have. The passion and professionalism you have shown throughout your career has not gone unnoticed. You'll be truly missed, not only as a fire marshal and a captain, but as a friend. I wish you all the best in your retirement, you and Evo. I'm sure I'll see you around. I'd also like to thank Sheriff Shepard for your attendance and all of GCSO, PD, and fire, and everybody here. You're a hell of a man. One vote, brother.
So I got to tell this real quick. So when Mike got voted, I guess I can call you Mike since I'm retiring now. So I go into the restaurant quite a bit, and he gave me some grief and tell him, you know what, Councilman Stapleton, the only reason you won is because of my one vote. That's all you won by, and I'm not even in his ward. So.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe, I just have a comment also. I want to thank you for your commitment, dedication, 25 years to the city of Globe. You've played a vital part in the fire operations of our city as a firefighter, as an EMT, as a arson investigator, and inspecting buildings. And that's not the normal thing that we see in bigger cities. You don't see a fire marshal who responds to fires, who's a certified EMT, and also goes to medical calls and cover shifts. They're non-sworn. So for us as a rural community, it was vital. And we got a big hole to fill because he covered not only the fire marshal, arson investigation, but he also covered fire and EMS calls too. So it's going to be difficult because that was huge for us because we don't have the resources the big cities do. So I thank you for your commitment and dedication to City of Globe.
I missed one person. Chief Rennan, can you stand up real quick? Chief Rennan, Tri-City Fire. Real quick, Nick, he was there when I first started. He took me under his wing, and and he taught me everything he knew as far as firefighting, medical, you name it. And he's gone on to be a fire chief with Tri-City. And Chief Rennan, thank you for everything you've done for me. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. What else?
Presentation.
Yeah. Got it there. Should.
So I'll read this.
Help him read it.
Presented to Joe Bracamonte, thank you for 25 years of service, September 30th, 2021. And on behalf of the city, there's another gift here for your retirement. I believe there's something there for both of you.
The treat is not yours, Joe.
Top tag says K-9 Evo, GF for Glow Fire. On there with the Maltese, Fire Department Maltese. K-9 Evo. Thank you very much.
Joe, badge number 323. It has the Maltese cross on it, and the bottom is K-9 Evo, and the black on it. Thank you, Chief. Congratulations.
We do have some cake in the back. We'll take a 10-minute short break right now to enjoy some cake, talk to each other, and then we'll resume around 7 o'clock.
No, go ahead.
and Melissa and I, we worked on these grant applications together, and the Freeport process has changed dramatically. So what was 2 years ago the application was this year's letter of intent, and then we were invited to come back and proceed through the process, which turns out to be about 8 to 10 pages of additional narrative. And it's definitely, it makes you think about your project and how it impacts the community, because that's their intention, is to really invest in projects that move the needle, that are wanted by the community, supported by the community, supported by our leadership here at the City of Globe. And the Community Center Pool has been one of those projects supported. It was identified in our original council strategic action plan from the 19 to 22 version. That's where our seed was planted. Through ROC, we developed a recreation working group that continues to this day, and that is housed within our Watershed Partnership nonprofit. And then with Pinnacle Prevention and Vitalist, we were funded the opportunity to create a 3-year action plan around the top 3 economic development priorities in our community. What will really move that needle? And that is housing, which we all know, education, and recreation. And so we've been able to build upon these studies and these community facilitations to deliver projects to our residents, because they've told us that it's important to them. So I thank you for that support, and I know our community thanks you as well.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, when as part of council had asked me to go out and do a check-in about a year ago with members of the community, and I think that my biggest takeaway from that was exactly how important getting this pool resolved and back up and running. Everybody remembers it as a child. It's been an important part to everyone's life in Globe, and getting this back up and running is just something that we need to accomplish if we're no matter what we do. And we have lots of ways we're moving forward and advancing, but that is something that we need to bring back to this community to bring that pool back and make it functioning and that center of everyone's summer again. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could.
Go ahead, Jess.
Linda, I want to congratulate you and your team working how fast. Usually in politics, things don't move as fast as this has. And from being closed for a decade to going to be open next year in May, you deserve a round of applause and a pat on your back. So I want to thank you for that. So.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you to Freeport.
Next, we have consent calendar. Matters listed in the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion, one vote. Public hearing items are designated with an asterisk. Prior to consideration of the consent agenda, the mayor will ask whether any member of the public wishes to move a public hearing item for separate consideration. Members of the council and/or staff may also remove any item for separate consideration. So I have item A, consideration of waiver of section 2-4-10 prior discussion rule to allow action on the balance of the consent agenda. 1, accounts payable, $629,054.20. Consideration of approval of council minutes. September 22nd, 2021 minutes, September 14th, 2021 minutes, August 24th, 2021 minutes, April 6th, 2021 special meeting minutes, and December 8th, 2020 minutes. Item B, consideration of agreements and purchases less than $25,000. C, consideration of possible approval of amendment number 2 to contract number PS-2020-0006 to LLR Electric Incorporated for on-call electric contracting support services to increase the contract amount from $41,988 for a revised total contract amount of $66,988 with funds budgeted in account number 50-80-51234 water. contractual service and account number 51-80-51234, wastewater contractual service. And item D, consideration to approve the amended and restated lease agreement with Tommy Thompson for office space at the second floor of the Amster Building located at 102 North Broad Street. Does anybody from the public, the staff, or the council want to remove any of these items for separate vote?
Mr. Mayor, if there are no other comments or questions, I move that we accept the consent agenda as read.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, for approval of the consent agenda as read. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. We go to new business, and we have item A is public hearing and consideration of the Planning and Zoning Commissioner's recommendation of approval for case number UP-21-01, a request of a conditional use permit to allow a marijuana dispensary establishment in the C2 Intermediate Commercial Zoning District pursuant to zoning code 14-5-19D for the property located at 2250 East Highway 60, Suite M, assessor parcel number 206-04-010A. And Dana, and we open our public hearing or presentation first?
Well, let's follow Dana's cues.
We'll hold off. I'll give a presentation initially and a little Q&A, and then we can open up public hearing, and I'll bring it to your attention, Mayor. Mayor and council members, thank you very much for having this agenda item to discuss this evening. And it's a pleasure to be before you in person for a change. Yeah. Thank you. As you recall, back in February of this year, this city council for the most part, adopted local ordinance to allow recreational marijuana dispensaries within the community. And that was in compliance with Proposition 207 that was adopted last November, by the state of Arizona electorate. At the time, we had recognized, based on how the ADHS, Arizona Department of Health Services, was going to roll out licenses, thinking that we would be a potential recipient, or a business owner in the community could be a recipient of a recreational dispensary here in a license here in Globe. With that said, that's exactly why we're here this evening. One of those many applicants that we had looking at properties throughout the community did receive the license awarded through a lottery process by ADHS, and that was Lawrence Health Services. They've made this application this evening to request the conditional use permit that is required for operation of any marijuana-related business. So with that, I'll quickly just give you a background on what the high-level conditional use permit purpose is, and that's first, a conditional use permit, and given its approval, will run with the land. It stays with that property. So if businesses move, it stays on that property, so another user can come in there. Now, recreational or the marijuana establishment licenses are a little different. You have to have an active license to keep your conditional use permit valid. So just letting you know, there's a little nuance to that. It's not like it'll always exist at that location, as long as we have an active license from ADHS and a business license here in the community, and this approved a CUP held in to the conditions of the use permit. It remains active. It also requires a public hearing, as you mentioned, that also involves notifying the public in 3 different ways: advertisements in the newspaper, signs placed along the property frontage, as well as notifying all property owners within 300 feet of the property. And then finally, the purpose of the conditional use permit is to address special conditions for operation of a particular use to ensure the protection of the surrounding properties from the potential nuisances that can be created by that use. Danny, or sir? This is an aerial of the site. You see right in the middle in red, it's Unit M in the inline commercial next door to the Tractor Supply. And there's also a liquor store and a fitness store in that inline retail. They're at the southeast corner of Russell Road in US 60. The red area you see is our zoning map. That's the commercial C2 zoning, and that allows for conditional use permit. The area that you see that's not colored, just an aerial, is actually county. Those are all county properties. For the most part, the surrounding property to the east and south, and I can't read the name of the road right now, that is in the county, but adjacent to city land. I believe that is zoned some commercial use in the county. Just to let you know, the county does not publish their zoning map. It's a difficult task sometimes to get specific zoning for some county parcels. But anyway, those properties are the properties that were notified for the most part within a 300-foot radius of the entire site of the inline commercial. And then there's the blow up of that site location. The proposed retail dispensary is approximately 2,300 square feet. Property I don't believe has been, this particular unit has been utilized or has been vacant for some period. The Planning and Zoning Commission, in their consideration, had some questions and expressed a little bit of concern about traffic at that intersection at Russell Road and the 60. And in review, you can see that it's a pretty substantial interchange there with acceleration lanes and protected acceleration and deceleration lanes. So in our analysis, we find that this is a pretty expansive improvement for an intersection and should be able to carry all types of traffic, no different than any other location throughout the community. And the police department as well, and Chief Walters also took a look at this application and looked into that concern of traffic for the area, and there is no additional concern for traffic safety reasons. Hours of operation proposed would be 6 a.m. to noon. If you recall, during our discussion in the ordinance, we kind of talked about hours, and we said, let's take care of it with the use permits. Let them propose. They actually proposed to operate between like 8 and 10 maximum, but wanted to give a little space on both ends for loading, stocking, things like that, in case they do want to operate and things are a good business for them. But to operate outside of those that time frame, they would have to come back before the council to amend that time frame.
What was the time frame again? I didn't get the
6 a.m. to 12 p.m. And 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday through
6 hours
6
open.
hours?
6 hours?
6 a.m. to 12. Sorry, 12.
12 a.m.
Oh,
My
Okay,
apologies.
2,400. 2,400 then.
These guys are gonna get up early.
yeah.
Also, in the staff or in the narrative, if you happen to read it,
Well,
In the recommendations, it says 12 p.m. Is that a typo then?
yes, it would be.
So,
So-
military time.
Yeah.
Correct. We'll make that when I give you a recommendation. It's 12 a.m. Thank you very much. I guess I read that.
One other question before
Correctly.
you go. On the first paragraph, it's case number UP 2104. And I think when the mayor read it, it's listed as
2101.
2101, so
It's on the agenda.
on the agenda. So
It was advertised. I feel confident that we're in good
okay,
standing
no, that's fine.
as it's been. If there is an issue, I would just come right back before you.
04 then? Okay, thank you, Shelley.
And thank you, Shelley. And like I mentioned, as it was advertised for public hearing, I feel very confident we can move forward this evening. That said, additionally, in the narrative, they also mentioned, or there's a mention of a drive-through, and I think there was another facility being looked at one time by this applicant, and they've since shifted that, and they recognize there is no drive-through as part of this request, and that's also included the conditions of approval. And Also, if you recall, in our discussion of the ordinance, ADHS does have, or did finally adopt some rules and regulations very specific to the operation and licensing for marijuana establishments, and those are now in place. Chief has a copy as well as we have a copy. So that is really the broader, I think, enforcement arm and oversight for how they operate and stay in good standing. And as long as they're in compliance with the state ADHS and our conditional use permit, we don't see any reason why it wouldn't be a
Fernando.
business in good standing.
So, I got a question. So when we brought this up and we passed it, I remember that there was a lot of discussion on the different methods that we could actually get a facility in Globe. One was that they would recognize us and issue us one for our area. The other was that we would go under some other request of some medical need. I don't remember what the rural something, I don't know. So how did we end up getting this authorized?
Got AZDHS held the lottery and designated they would, I can't recall off the top of my head, a certain number of licenses to each county, two actually licenses per each county throughout the state. I don't know how many counties there are. So we knew that two were coming. They prioritized existing medical marijuana facilities to receive the first, to receive a recreational license. So then they would have a co-location with the intent to keep the footprint of these dispensaries down and just allow the medicals to begin to sell retail recreational. That was what happened. And again, Lawrence Health Services received one of those licenses. They actually received 3 throughout the state, not specific Lawrence, but the same group did receive 3. The other consideration that may be coming down the pipeline from ADHS is the applicant has a representative here. Pele, what's the next? Social equity licenses. That's what they're developing right now. They still haven't probably finalized that program. Pele can probably certainly shed light on that.
So
if
that
you're
could end
interested.
up anywhere in Arizona at some point.
Right, once they develop the conditions of that program and what would qualify, right, there could be more additional licenses come out.
Jesse, you got a question?
Yeah, if you could, recommendation 12 talks about signage. Is that in line with our sign code, or did they decide to?
Our sign code would actually allow 2 square feet per lineal foot of frontage, and we choked that down to 1.5 to have less signage. The 2 is a pretty considerable amount of sign area allowed for business. I think why that is because of that commercial corridors on our highway, very auto-oriented, and larger signage is good. In this situation, we know, we feel 1.5 square feet per lineal foot, which will equal probably 45 square foot sign or that would be a 9x5 sign or something like that, inclusive of all signage on the frontage of the building.
And the applicant was okay with that based off of
yes,
the
they've
talking?
been aware of the stipulations as they were recommended by Planning and Zoning Commission and didn't have an issue. And then also keep in mind, this request is strictly for retail sales. It's not for cultivation or manufacturing in any way. Those types of uses tend to be, the manufacturing cultivation tend to have more of the odors involved and require a lot additional filtration systems to maintain that odor nuisance within the building. So we don't expect that to be a problem, but if it is our ordinance to not be detectable from the exterior.
Go ahead, Freddie. Thank you, Mayor. I remember in our discussions as well, we had talked, and I'm not sure if I have the language right, but some sort of testing that may or may not be done. And if I missed it, then I missed it. But how does that relate to this scope of ordinance?
Testing is not a part of this request, but testing so ADHS established the need for testing for contaminants and THC levels and other things. So they're actually required as a grow facility or wherever they grow or where they're purchasing or receiving their products, they have to be tested prior to being packaged and delivered. So testing is another avenue also that somebody could come and propose a testing facility in the community or a lab. And we talked about that, but that's not a part of this. Ideally, all the products going to this location would have had some sort of testing and submitted to ADHS for approval.
I have a question about odor. Since it's not manufacturing, then we don't have a concern about odors like we are dealing with the other facility at this point?
Correct. Everything should be packaged. Again, if there is a problem, we'll be on top of it, and you might, ultimately, the authority is, it would come back to you for having a code compliance issue. But yes, the grow facilities and manufacturing is where they're dealing with the flour and a lot of opportunity for odor. And I think in that situation, it was just an under-designed filtration system.
I just have a curiosity question. What's the next nearest facility that would be available? It's not close, right? This is kind of...
You want to come up to the mic? We can, that way the online can hear you.
I believe it would be Apache Junction, I think I heard. All right.
What about Payson? Anything in Payson?
There is one in Payson.
But I don't believe the new Payson one is opened yet, because they got a backfill county license as well, and that location also had moved to the Metro feed.
Closer to the mic.
The Payson location also has a new license in that county, similar to here, and that location had closed and moved to the metropolitan area, or Metro Phoenix area. And so there's a lot of shuffling going on with some of the licenses that were able to be moved, that have been moved to Phoenix and Tucson and surrounding areas. And then we are starting to see the backfill of these rural county licenses come online. So right now, we have the 2 new licenses coming in, and then, so Apache Junction is really the closest at this point. And then north of you in Apache County, there'll be new licenses coming in as well.
So question on, so neither facility is a medical marijuana facility, it's going to be recreation, only Payson and Globe?
Right, there really isn't any longer any strictly medical marijuana dispensaries, because all the medical marijuana dispensaries had the first option to convert to a dual license so that they could do medical and adult use. And so now all the old medical dispensaries have all converted to a dual license, and these backfill licenses are strictly recreation. But really what that means is there's just certain, well, it means multiple things, I guess. It means there's certain products that can't be sold over a certain THC limit. There are certain, for medical patients, they can purchase up to 2.5 ounces when rec patients can only purchase 1 ounce. And then the taxing is different. So with you guys having an adult use only, that will be subject to full TPT taxes. And so Globe will get that share of the revenue as well as the state pursuant to the TPT taxes. So economically, you won't have the medical patients that are exempt from the TPT tax.
I did have a question, but I kind of it slipped my mind, so.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you anticipate this group that got this license pursuing testing?
Testing is required by Arizona Department of Health Services. So any product prior to being sold has to pass full panel testing. And so it's required before any product is sold that it's tested for potency, mold, contaminants, aspergillus. There's a whole chart of it. I have a copy if you guys are interested in seeing it, but it's fully required to be tested before final sale.
I remember my question.
Go ahead, Fernando.
So I was here when we opened our medical marijuana facility, but then after a certain time, they were able to move that license to, I think they took it to Tucson, if I'm not mistaken. Is this license going to stay in Gila County?
Yes, it's restricted to stay in Gila County. Even though it is an adult use license, really a lot of the purpose in backfilling these licenses is to make sure that the full state has access. And so these licenses will not be able to be moved out of the county.
Okay.
The signage, can I just go back to that for a second? We are fine with the sign restrictions, and I'll also just say if there's any concern about what will be on the sign, like that advertising and marketing is also regulated by DHS. So nothing attractive to minors, no, there are another layer of protection of what can and can't be on that sign. And, if you've noticed driving by other dispensaries, they're muted signs that can't have, overly graphic, attractive advertising.
Fernando, go ahead.
I'm just thinking that I could just see somebody wanting to break into this place late at night. Do you have to have extra security, or what do you do to kind of?
Yeah, the security requirements are very stringent from the state, and I know the recommendations also have some security requirements, but everything is required to be fully under lock and key, under camera, 24-hour surveillance. Any access to where the marijuana specifically is stored has to be restricted. Only employees with the right credentials that have been licensed by the Department of Health Services can have access to that. Most dispensaries have a reception area when you come in, that you check in. They make sure that even though it's just adult use, 21 and older, all the dispensaries require that you register with them. They make sure that they have all your credentials, that you're over 21, that all your information is in the system. They check that before you go back into more of the retail area. But there's strict requirements for security. And what I always say is not only are there strict requirements, but the owner has all the motivation in the world to make sure that the security is top notch, because that is their retail products. And so there are very highly sophisticated systems and and security companies out there that really have been working hard with this industry to make sure it's top of the line, and that there's no access for breaking in, diversion of product. Anytime marijuana leaves, the state requires a trip log be completely filled out and submitted beforehand. So everything is under surveillance and tracked every single step of the way. There isn't anything just, floating around.
You got a question, Mike?
Yeah. Dana, you said Gila County's entitled to two licenses earlier?
That's correct. And as Bailey just mentioned, the other one went to Payson. Yes.
Because they left, do we not get another one?
No. Why? So you might recall during the discussion on the ordinance, gentleman had a lot of information to provide the scientist. He was the representative from that particular location. Well, as soon as they were awarded their recreational license, they transferred their medical license to the valley, from what I understand. Don't quote me on that, I don't think so. So now we'll have strictly two recreational licenses in Gila County. Curtis Devine, the applicant, is fully aware that we are very interested, should medical licenses become available one day, to have a co-location too. And that was part of our discussion up front, to make sure we're serving that population as well. So we'll continue to remind them when we see these ADZ DHS offer new licenses for medical.
Dana, I went and looked at the site, and this site is, I'm assuming that we're looking at it, is right next to the beverage house?
Correct.
So it's right next door. So you're talking about signage and smaller and not really appealing to get people there. The frontage, is it going to be a covered frontage, like it's not going to have a display window or anything so it'll all be covered like this one was downtown, where you couldn't really see inside?
You're required, and by our ordinance as well, you're not allowed to see any of the product from the exterior of the building. And then there's an armed guard typically at the front to qualify people with their IDs.
Good.
security of the surrounding.
So I am showing the retail space right now. We did blank out the vault area and that other area just for the sake of protecting that information. If you are interested, I do have hard copies for you, but it's basically work. I think a lunchroom, bathrooms, vault, things of that nature, and offices. All right, moving forward. Again, Planning and Zoning Commission, motion for City Council to approve, unanimously motion to approve this use permit request. City has not received a single comment, or at least I haven't, and I haven't heard anybody that has received any feedback from anybody notified of this, or anyone from the public. And then this evening, Your Honor, when you're done with Q&A, I would suggest we open up the public hearing with the strike of your gavel and make that announcement, receive any public testimony, and then to close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Dana, I have one quick question for the applicant. What level of staffing, what positions, and how many people will you be employing within the city of Globe, and will they be Globe residents?
Yeah, we are anticipating that there'll be at minimum 15 full-time employees. The hours allow for 2 shifts. My client has several rural licenses, and they always employ within the county or within the city and the local municipality. Sometimes they'll bring in some, like a manager from another store to help train and get everything up and running and in compliance. But we imagine up to 15 employees. All those jobs are above minimum wage, benefit, good jobs. It will also include, higher level staffing such as a store manager. It's hard to anticipate exactly how many based on traffic, but at minimum, we expect 15, and that includes some higher level staffing as well.
Well, thank you very much. That's good news.
Yeah.
Question.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Dana, so with this facility established here in Globe, it's available to anybody in the state?
Correct, or out of state,
Okay.
as long as they're over 21.
Okay, so, and then the other thing, you mentioned that there was going to be a security guard out in front of the facility or in the facility?
Most all the locations have enhanced security. Either, by or location is appropriate. I don't specifically been decided, and we usually work with the retail neighbors to make sure it's something that everyone's on board with, whether they want it inside or outside, or necessary and hand in hand with the security system. There's panic buttons, so if someone comes in the front door, they still don't have access to the retail portion. Everything is locked, so it's really a location by location determination of what fits the neighborhood and what's appropriate and what makes most sense.
Okay, one other question is, what kind of relationship will your company and their security people have with our local police department?
Oh, there's a close relationship.
If you want to come up to the...
Yeah.
And if the chief wants to chime in, I would like to hear what his feelings are, just out of curiosity.
Especially in communities such as yours, there, we make sure that the security company and the local police and fire department, that everything's aligned, that the communication is streamlined. That's one of the main things we look for when we're working with our contracted security company, making sure that's a seamless communication line, and that, our store managers and our local presence on the ground have a close working relationship. We've been in this trying to work hard to, the general sense of the initiative and moving into this space is to get rid of the unregulated market and bring a regulated market to make sure products are safe and only the right people are having access to the product. So working hand in hand with the local police department is key to that. We do not want to see kids have their hands on product. We want to make sure only people over 21 are accessing product. And so really we want to establish the closest relationship we can and make sure communication is streamlined.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
I want to get the other side, see what the feelings are.
You know, I've been doing this for a really long time, sir. I've been in law enforcement for excess of 30 years. And my primary function in that has been narcotics investigation. I worked undercover for several years, and then I ran the unit for a number of years. And not just within this state, but within surrounding states, and I've done stuff clear across the country. And I will tell you that it's time that we change the dynamic on what we're doing. And I think this is probably a step in the right direction. The simplest way I could tell you is, as long as I've been doing this, I've met a lot of really upset drunks, but I've yet met a pissed off pothead. So that's just the reality of it. From what I've seen with the medical marijuana dispensaries and from what I've read through the zoning documents and what I've read from the company, they're very extremely professional. They're crossing their T's and dotting their I's. It seems like it's going to be a good partnership, and it's going to be here. And so I think we should embrace it, partner with them, and move forward. As far as the security guard goes, or security in this business, it's no different for us than the banks that we service, the different businesses within the community. We want to work with business partners within the community, because the more successful they are and safer they are, the more successful my police department is and the city as a whole is. So we're all in. I'm sure we'll have some questions as this goes and some debate on things, but I think the professionalism of both that company and the police department and the city will work through them as we move forward. This is an excellent location as far as I'm concerned, because you have both ends of the spectrum. You're right next to a liquor establishment and right next to a health food store. And then there's a gym right down the way. So, I mean, you kind of hit all vices all at one time. So for those that are confused, they'll be really confused when they get to that particular shopping center. But other than that, I think it's an excellent opportunity for the city of Globe. I think it is something that's demanded by the citizens of Arizona, and I'm in full support of whatever I can do to make sure that we're successful as we move forward in a safe manner.
Thank you, Chief, appreciate that.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Nope.
I missed my opportunity to talk about Bracamonte.
You had your chance.
So with that, Mayor, again, staff will recommend one amendment to the conditions of approval to include the hours of 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. Other than that, staff, Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval, and you'd be happy to respond to any additional questions, or you're welcome to open up the public hearing.
Any questions or comments before we open the public hearing? So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and we'll entertain any questions from the public, from the staff, from the council.
Mayor Gameros, I do have a comment from Tracy Quick, who wants council to know that she supports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hearing none?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, with no council emails that would be looking at it, nothing's rolled in.
I want to make sure that everybody would sign in the public hearing. Is it documented in the back to make sure if you're here, so we get those signatures also?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion made.
Second.
We have a motion second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, so we'll go back to item A under the new business. And it's a public hearing consideration, planning and zoning commission recommendation or approval case UP-21-04, a request of the conditional use permit to allow marijuana dispensary establishment in the C2 Intermediate Commercial Zoning District pursuant zoning code 14-5-19D for the property located at 2250 East Highway 60, Suite M, assessor parcel number 206-04-010A.
Mayor,
Yes.
my question, I guess, would be the city manager. This, you want us to approve to move forward, or we can waive the rules?
You always have the option to waive the rules. I would say, given the significance of this item and the importance of being fully transparent, we go ahead and not waive the rules and bring this back to the next available meeting for final approval.
And I would agree with that suggestion simply because we don't have any public comment, and if we approve it right now, tomorrow morning we'll get all kinds of public comment, and
In that situation, then I would open back up. I'm not too clear on the rule that manager's suggesting, but I would keep the public hearing open because it sounds like you want to keep.
Okay.
So I would continue open back up the public hearing and then table the public hearing.
Well,
What rules, or is this something?
So Dana, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Dana, we have a two-read rule for anything that comes to the council. We had the public hearing, but we hear every item twice, giving people a chance. We have the ability to waive the rule, but we feel in this item. So I don't believe we need to keep the public hearing open, but just, we want to follow our process as we traditionally do the same thing we normally do. And that would just be to approve this to come back for not an additional public hearing, but for a final approval. And anybody who did, for whatever, didn't catch on to this and wants to come again in 2 weeks, the final approval will be on October 12th. But I don't believe we need to keep the public hearing open.
Got it.
But do the final approval of the CUP in 2 weeks.
Okay, if you do expect people to speak, I think you would want that public hearing, but it sounds like you're going to, manage it like a ordinance or a resolution. Okay, very good.
A second read.
If I could, Mayor.
Go ahead, just.
With not keeping the public hearing open, the people that would come that weren't here, they wouldn't have a chance to have anything changed. Because if, at that point, if they came and they made recommendations, we would then have to kick it back down to come back again to reopen a public hearing again.
We'd have to re-advertise, it
Yeah,
would take
we'd have
another
to go
month,
through
month and a
that.
half. I would just keep the public hearing open, correct?
All right, then.
Otherwise, we would just be a call to the public for the item, and they would be talking to us and we'd be discussing, but there would be no changes being made at that point.
Ready?
So if I'm understanding this, we would keep the public hearing open to the next available meeting and also move this item forward to the next available meeting for final vote.
How do we go back to reopening the public meeting when we motioned and
I think the mayor has the
Called
ability
it.
to adjust the agenda to reopen.
Correct, or you can reopen the public hearing. You don't need a vote to close it either, and then once it's back open, receive a motion to table to a date specific. So whatever that date is, and then, and then vote. And then we'll come back and public hearing.
But didn't the advertisement serve as a alert to the public that, they had the opportunity for public comment? So, I think the process was legally done. I don't know if we need to open up another public hearing for it.
Well, the idea, as Councilman Lethan pointed out, the whole purpose is to receive public testimony or information, additional information. Once the public hearing's closed, that kind of draws the line that the public hearing, we're not interested, or we're not available, or have a method to receive that additional public information.
Mayor?
Go ahead, Fernando.
So I know that the point of that rule was always so that people would have an opportunity to participate. 'Cause sometimes they don't know that it's on the agenda until they're taking action on it. But in this case, we We had a zoning meeting, the P and Z approved it. People who were really interested followed that. They were telling me what happened in the P and Z meeting. So, and this has been their opportunity, so I
agree.
So I really feel like.
It's council's choice. If you feel comfortable, you're acting totally within the framework of the law.
I think you just confuse things and makes it a little more complex when we start carrying on a public hearing that's already closed, and I think they had the opportunity. I think we just move it forward for the final vote next, that's my opinion, my suggestion, move it forward, just solely for the final vote.
The final vote. So we leave the public hearing closed, move it forward to the final vote as our procedure is, and if someone comes up with something that is convincing, then we go and have to do, some changes, but I think the protocol is sound, and I think I agree.
Well, if they come to the meeting next time, they obviously can fill out a card to speak to the subject. Yeah. But, I mean,
That doesn't mean we have to change it.
No, it doesn't mean you have to change it.
No, yeah, exactly. Ready?
My concern about reopening because someone or a group may have some situation come up where they want to speak again. I think now we have just disrupted our being transparent. And not only that, we put ourselves in a position where all the other items that we have opened and closed on in the past may come back and want to reopen again. So I just don't feel, I think we've gone through the process accurately and transparently, and I think we need to just keep it closed and push this forward for the sake of not trying to rush this, but again, keeping transparent with our policies and our codes. So
Why treat this one any different?
exactly, why treat it any different?
I agree.
And so, my recommendation would be that we keep it closed, if we haven't closed it yet, I've already forgot, but,
It's closed.
and move this forward to the next available meeting for final vote.
I'll second. Is that a motion?
So we have a motion to move forward?
Was that a motion?
Was your
That is
motion?
my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have motion and second to move this item forward to the next available meeting for the final vote. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed.
And Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor,
Dana.
Council, to the applicant, I think that if we need to, we can connect with Zoom. Thank you for taking the time to come up here. I don't think that'd be necessary for the final approval, but if someone is available just for possible questions by Zoom, that would be. Is that acceptable for council that we do? Okay. Well. Well, thank you, and
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
have a safe
Thanks.
drive.
Thank you, Dana. We'll go to action items, and we have consideration of grant awards to the Globe Police Department from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety in the amount of $10,825 for speed enforcement and $9,674 for DUI task force patrols. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council, again. We continue with an excellent relationship with Alberto Gutierrez with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. They have been extremely supportive of us over the last few years since I've been up here. And again, I bring to you and ask for approval of this year's award of $10,825 for speed enforcement. It's overtime details, specifically for targeted areas as we know we need help with. And then the DUI grant for that we've got the holiday season coming up, and we've already started working out schedules to partner with both DPS and Gila County to put together some task force through the holidays. And that grant is for $9,674 in overtime funds for officers to come work off duty for it. Any questions?
Questions, comments? One question on this funding, is this for a year when it's awarded, or is there a time frame, 6 months, a year down the road?
This is a year-long grant, so normally we'll kind of spread it out on our holiday weekends and stuff. As everybody knows, we get a tremendous increase in holiday travel on the weekends and stuff like that. We've had some pretty significant accidents. We try to work speed patrols and things like that on that. And there was some of the other holidays with us being between two lakes and then the gateway to the White Mountains. It's always good to have extra patrols on when we can. So this is a huge benefit to the community.
Good deal.
Move to approve the grants.
We have a motion for approval of the Governor's Off-Site Waste Safety Grant. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Item B.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Item B is discussion and consideration to award contract number CS-2021-0023 to CDX Contracting LLC for the 7th and Maple Intersection Improvement Project in the amount of $31,142.40 plus an owner's contingency to be used only upon prior written city approval. Amount of 20%, $6,228.48. The total funds of $37,370.88 will come from the budgeted funds in account number 12-80-5220, half-cent excise tax, capital outlay construction. Jerry.
I think we have Jerry Barnes on. Jerry,
on Zoom here.
Hey, Jerry, Mr. Mayor, members of council, before we go forward with Jerry's item, we just had a quick follow-up comment from Linda.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This comment is about Jerry. I want to thank him. I missed my opportunity in the presentation. Jerry was on our interview panel for the pool grant. He and I, we zoomed into the Community Investment Fund group, and so Jerry likes to say, you know, I'm all the fluff and the sunshine, and Jerry's like the nitty gritty, like how we're gonna get there, you know, the structure of it. So we make a good team, and the comments that we got back on our grant was that we had a near perfect grant application. It scored the highest out of all the applications, and then our interview went just as well, and that is hugely because of Jerry. So Jerry, I owe you one.
Yeah, I liked it better when you didn't mention me, because then you did owe me.
That's why.
So, thank you, Linda.
Keep bringing the money.
Yes, thank you, Jerry.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, notice he has his truck propaganda slide up on the background.
Oh, yeah.
Is he going
So, this one's for you, John. So, good evening, Mayor and Council. This item has taken a village. We have had surveyors, engineers, Dana's been involved, Chris Colby's been involved. We've had right-of-way issues. We've had utility relocations, easement issues, but we're there. Councilman Lethan, we're there. Over a year later, we're there.
Thank you so much.
So we are ready to move forward with contract CS 2021-0023 in the amount of $31,142.40 to CDX, and with a 20% contingency, which brings the total up to $37,370.88. This is to complete the intersection project. It is the signage, it is the islands, it is so forth that's there. CDX was the lowest responsible bidder, and we're coming tonight to you guys to ask for your permission to award this contract, and to make Councilman Lethan smile.
It's been a long time coming.
It has.
It's a long process.
I don't know if you all are aware of where that intersection is, but it's the one going up to Copper Rim that since Copper Rim has
Fernando
changed,
knows it very well.
since Copper Rim has changed the way that you pick up and drop off your kids. That is one of the most dangerous intersections in my district anyway, so.
Good job.
So if you vote on it tonight, Mayor, Councilman Shipley has about 3 weeks before we close it down.
Get on it.
Yeah.
Where's Chief? He left now.
No, Chief left. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, so, when this problem first emerged about 3 years ago, I'm like, okay, well, somebody just go plant a stop sign where you need a stop sign, And Jerry's like, well, it's not quite that simple. And I've learned that the longer these legacy problems we find are out there, it's because they are so difficult. But we are knocking them down slowly but surely. And Jerry, thank you for walking, for going through everything that it took to make this happen, and a lot of actual getting people on board, smoothing ruffled feathers, getting people to make trades and haggle. And Jerry, thank you.
Yes.
And thanks to everybody involved in making this happen, a long time coming.
It is, like I say, it has been a village because everybody from zoning to development services, to public works to to our consultants have been involved in this.
Yep, great. Mike, you got a question?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I want to congratulate, Public Works, Jesse, for his due diligence in managing this problem. I know one of the residents that was really concerned about that area real well. I visited with him this afternoon to let him know what was going on. And he's very, very pleased. He says it's a long time coming. He's looking forward to it. Now, Jerry, this will start 30 days after, this will be completed 30 days after we award the contract, or once we get everything in place?
So the contract is ready, thanks to Jeannie and her finance team. It's ready to be awarded right now with your approval. That's one of the attachments is the contract. And this was put together with Jeannie and okay through our legal counsel. And we outlined the scope. We set out the plans. On the back of the contract is a set of plans if you're curious. I don't have the ability to pull them up, but they are there. Okay. But we absolutely are ready to complete this project.
Good. Good. And there will be 4 stop signs in that intersection now. Correct?
Yeah, there'll be 4 stop signs there.
Okay. Because that was one of the questions thrown at me. There will be some stop signs, and I says, I think so, but let me ask. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it.
Yep. There will be 4. And I didn't say it before, but thank you, Jeannie, for getting us out.
Well, I didn't go airborne on purpose.
There was no.
I had no idea that was going to happen.
How many times?
It's this
I was
evening.
doing 25, and then when you hit that bump down
hit
there,
it.
it was like, woo!
I know.
So, Mr. Mayor, if there's no other comments or questions, I'll motion to award contract number CS 2021-0023 to CDX Contracting LLC for the 7th and Maple Intersection Improvement Project in the amount of $31,142.40, plus an owner's contingency to be used only upon prior approval by the city, amount of 20%, $6,228.48. The total funds of $37,370.88 will come from budgeted fund in account number 1280-52200 half-cent excise tax capital outlay construction.
Second.
A motion second for approval of the motion is read. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. We have a couple of late agenda items. Item 7A is consideration to approve a letter to members of the Arizona Congressional Delegation expressing council opposition to additional costs and restrictions on mining operations being considered as part of the U.S. House of Representatives Reconciliation Package Section 70807 Hard Rock Mining, and authorize the mayor to sign the opposition letter on behalf of the city council. And just a little history on this. Linda and I attended a meeting, a resolution put on at the Chamber of Commerce a week and a half ago, and they had different stakeholders in the room, particularly Superior, who tends to who could lose the most on it because of Resolution Mine, and their concern and their letter is strictly or more geared towards saving Oak Flats. But when you look at this bill, and it's, it's almost 3,000 pages long, and there's so many amendments in the bill that it really affects mining all over Arizona, copper mining. I mean, they have a dirt tax that could cost millions of dollars when they do reclamation or even normal operations. They also have a fee claims that went from 165, this came from Capstone. We contacted, just to go back a little bit, we talked to Capstone, Freeport, and BHP. So their permit fees are going to go up from $165 to $200. I don't know what the amount would be on an annual basis for that. There's also a royalty, gross income, that went from 4%, was the old one, and it's going to double to 8%. So it just appears that this bill is there's so many things involved in this bill. I just hope that they're looking at it. I mean, is he a senator, Grijalda?
No, he's
House of Representatives. He's the one pushing this, and unfortunately, he's from Arizona. And Arizona relies on copper mining, and he's trying to hide this bill or these amendments to mining and other things. So, I think our resolution letter is going to encompass all the amendments that affect copper mining as a whole.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is what we're understanding is that these are been placed into the large reconciliation bill, but as discussions and letters kind of pour in, they look at those ones that are kind of hitting a lot of attention on there, and so I have a draft letter. I'm going to finish that up. Mayor, have you sign it in the morning. We will fax it in to the appropriate so we can get it, because I think they're going to committee on Thursday, and get it in time. And it will reflect the 4 A, B, C, D, E, those 5 bullet points in there in the form of a letter, and let them know that not only, individual members of the community, but that council as a whole and is supporting the mayor to send a note to them saying we are opposed to these additional restrictions and hindrance to economic sustainability in the region of Globe and Arizona, and that this a negative effect on us. So I'm sorry I don't have a final draft for you tonight, but we will get that finished, get it signed, and get it sent within the next 12 hours.
Can we get that final draft to the council, full council, before I sign it to make sure that they look at it?
We can send it up first thing in the morning, if not like late tonight. You're my usual.
Can we
midnight.
Can we make a quick reference to copper is needed for all renewable energy? Because that's one of the things that they're promoting is renewable energy, and copper is where copper is. It's not where they want it to be. And so we need to be able to get it to move forward.
Mr. Mayor, comments. During my tenure at State of Arizona as well as at Gila County, I was chairman of the Local Emergency Planning Committee and also worked closely with representatives of industry as planner at State of Arizona. The first part of my career was learning how highly regulated for any hazmat and mining on mine premises throughout the state of Arizona. And being that highly regulated by the EPA as well as Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, during my tenure, they were highly regulated and fined heavily whenever they got out of line in terms of trying to contain waste. So with that in mind, and with all of the history they had successfully presenting their cases in front of ADEQ as well as the EPA during my tenure, as well as later, they are a very conscientious industry worldwide when it comes to containment of spills, managing their hazmat chemicals on site, and working closely with local government wherever in the United States as far as effecting cleanup. I had a high confidence level throughout this state during my tenure with State of Arizona that the copper mines would continue doing that. Now, I can't speak for what happened during the previous federal administration. The gutting of EPA rules had occurred, but this method of trying to fix things from the past is no way to go about it. I would rather the experts at EPA recover and rewrite if necessary, and strengthen whatever regulations are there at the federal level through the code through the CFAs. The point I'm making is this: they know how to take care of their business. They've always done a great job in front of ADEQ, and I support the elimination of what they're trying to push through Congress right now. Let the experts fix that at the EPA. This is no way to do that. And we do know, and we've been affected by worldwide risk management within the copper industry to negate possible future spills from the tailings dumps worldwide. Their own risk management people are in charge of that and spending billions of dollars to clean that up, as well as here in Arizona. With that in mind, I started to read some of those regulations that are being proposed, and they will hamper the industry in the U.S., and that's no way to regulate slipping it in, if you will, at the last minute. That's not regulation, that's politics. And I am a lifelong Democrat, 4 generations. I find it appalling. And they need to take a breather on this one. And I fully support writing that letter because there needs to be a sensible approach to regulation. This is not sensible. Thank you.
Well, they need to propose it in a separate bill, so it's not put into a so large of a bill you can't even understand it.
Yeah.
I think they're discouraging federal mining on federal land.
Yeah.
I did, just for your reference, I also request, can we put it on our website immediately?
Yes.
I have constituents that have called this afternoon that are waiting for our resolution so they can mirror our letter of support. Also, I talked to Senator Kelly today and Senator Sinema. Also, I talked to Congressman O'Halloran's office, and then I left a message with Ann Kirkpatrick, and they want the resolutions as soon as we get it so we can mail it to them. But I encourage anybody here to call them direct. I'll text you their numbers direct if you want to call Kelly, Sinema, and O'Halloran and Kirkpatrick.
Well, and Mr. Mayor, just members of council, this will be a letter from the city council, the city of Globe, authorized to be signed by the mayor of Globe. It won't actually be a resolution, but it'll be a statement supported by council with the information plus the copper and renewable resources. And just for your information, we did check with representatives of Freeport. And they are supportive of our efforts to assist with them, and with, I believe, BHP and with Capstone.
Capstone was also there.
Especially Capstone. And the breaking point, if you're operating on federal lands, it is much more severe. But even without being on federal lands, on private property, it still adds additional barriers to success, and makes it just harder for them to compete. And I'll leave it at that.
We'll need a motion for this and waive the rules on this one
Yes.
also to get this letter out.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of a letter to be written and signed by myself in representing the entire council. Is there any further discussion?
Just so we can get that sent out by tonight or tomorrow.
Exactly.
sign it.
I just got to make sure it's proofread tight, and want to make sure that it's, and then we'll get it to the mayor first thing in the morning, and get that signed, and we'll get it on the website.
Okay.
So, my apologies for not having it finalized tonight.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Item B is consideration to approve the administrative service contract with the City of Globe to administer our 2021 Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $11,189 to administer the City of Globe Park revitalization for fiscal year 2021-2022. And is Jerry talking on this one, or?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you again on this item. Thank you, Jeannie and Bill Sims, for quickly reviewing it. And also, as the president of the Shelly Salazar fan club, thank you, Shelly, for getting it on the agenda. So we have a deadline that we're fighting on this item. It was on our CDBG grant. This first item, it's for the next 2 items, but this item is for the contract with CAG to administer our CDBG funds. and our application. I did screw up. It's all my fault. Instead of $11,189, it is actually $19,689. And that's because I didn't include the application fee of $5,000 for the technical assistance and the $3,500 for the environmental review. So the total amount would be $19,689. And Shelly also gave me permission to change it during the council meeting. So this was all last minute. And thank you, Shelly. Any questions on this?
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the consideration to approve the administrative services contract with the City of Globe to administer our 2021 Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $19,689 to administer to the City of Globe Park Revitalization for fiscal year 2021 to 2022.
Second.
Motion and second for approval with the changes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Item C is consideration by the City of Globe Council to authorize Mayor Gomeros to sign all necessary documents, including the resolution to apply environmental review record, CDBG application certification, disclosure report, and letter of intent on behalf of the City of Globe Council for the Community Development Block Grant. And Shelley, can you read the resolution? And I didn't get a number on that, the resolution.
Resolution number 1844.
1844.
Mayor and Council, Resolution Number 1844, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Globe authorizing the submission of an application for fiscal year ending 2021 State Community Development Block Grant Funds, certifying that said application meets the community's previously identified housing and community development needs and the requirements of the state CDBG program, and authorizing all actions necessary to implement and complete the activities outlined in said application. Council, please with that reading.
Yes.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to authorize?
Gary?
Oh, Gary, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, these are, members of council, these are documents that have to be signed for our application to go in to receive the CDBG money. We had a little bit of a change. We're still doing playground equipment, but we've moved the money that we had grant-wise for the playground equipment at City Hall to the community center, and we had to move the CDBG money to the City Hall because it is in the low to mod area that qualifies us for the CDBG. I work with Linda on that and John to get the numbers and get everything in line to get this out. But anyway, we're ready to go. We need signatures by the mayor. Everything has to be in by the 1st of October.
Mayor, I would move to approve Resolution 1844 to authorize the mayor to execute all the documents so that we can do the Community Development Block Grant.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of Resolution 1844. All those,
To waive the rule, did I say to waive the rule?
yeah, we need to waive the rule.
To waive the rule.
Second.
Motion and second for approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Jerry.
Gary.
Thank you.
Very good.
We got a second call to the public. Any emails or texts?
Nothing from the emails. Anything?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll move on to scheduling the meetings.
No addition for city council meetings, no changes in the council schedule currently.
Just the ones we approved last time for December is all
Right.
Okay. Any future agenda items?
One, are we going to get redistricting on the agenda to discuss redistricting?
The if the council would like to have a presentation on that, we can arrange something. And that you're talking about statewide redistricting, not
Right.
county redistricting, because there's two redistricting.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about
The
our legislative district is So I saw a proposed map. We're gonna go east and south.
Eagle County?
Mhm. So, but that's just a preliminary map, so we should at least give input, know what they're talking about and give our input.
So update on, background on the process, update on what they're doing, and if there's any voice or message that the council would like to share, we can, at that time, get your message and send that forward.
If it's just a suggestion, if it's a long presentation, maybe an hour or whatever, do we want to do that in like a noon work session instead, or do you want to put it on a meeting?
I don't think
it
it's
would be
an
long.
hour. No, I think there's gonna be a couple of questions. Well, we're not gonna have a lot of say in it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, there's a lot of back. Mayor, if let's see what our schedule looks. We've had a pretty good rhythm of trying to figure out if it's a big issue. We may take it to a lunchtime single. Let me see who the presenters. I know there's a league has a special training going on. I think within the next week or so, I'm going to sit in on that, and then I'll know more about the scope of what we need to present.
It's
I think
important.
I think the big question is, do we want to be rural or do we want to go that way? And I think the common consensus has been rural.
I don't know a whole lot about that. I know a little bit, but yeah, it's important that we understand it.
No, and it's definitely worth a presentation.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I've been appointed as an alternate on the redistricting committee for the county, and we're having a first meeting tomorrow, so I'll have some information that
Good.
I can share with Paul and give him an idea where we're going.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other future agenda items? I'll call for the motion to go into executive session.
Moved.
Second.
Motion is second to go into e-session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, to those listening,